It's a pleasure to join everybody today. Thank you for all attending. I'm going to share a couple of experiences from my career, milestones in my career, in a way that if I reflect back, I wish other leaders would have shared with me, so that I think may be valuable for you. Before I get into those experiences, for you to know me and trust me as a leader, I think it may be helpful to know me a little bit more as a person, so I'll give a little bit of a more detailed background. I was born and raised on a family farm in Iowa, the youngest of 6 kids in 6 years, so my parents were really busy. And one of the things that I really valued about the childhood and those developmental years was some values that my parents gave me that really helped me today. The values of hard work, learning responsibility and accountabilities early in life, and that has really been helpful and foundational. One of the values that has been deeply instilled is really a family first value. And a little bit on Judy's message around work-life balance. What I have experienced throughout my career is there's a challenge. You have, in my own words, a commitment to be successful at home. I've been married to my wife Julie for 29 years, 3 kids, 26, 24, and 22. And success is the only option in marriage and being a good parent, a good father. And at the same time, I look at my work with the same view. Success is the only option. And I would tell you, I think there's absolutely room for both. And in my experience, I believe having that value system and that commitment, I believe that one can enable the other. I have seen plenty of professionals who commit too much at work, and it actually makes their family life suffer. All of us have things personally going on in our lives that are challenging, and you have to work through all of that. But I think if you're committed to being successful at work and committed to the home front, that the two can really complement one another. And for me, I have really found that, and have found that I've been more productive and more successful at work because my family's really been an inspiration. On to the stories, and I graduated from Iowa State in '88. I started trading commodities, and traded commodities and managed commodities for 16 years, and had a lot of success, and didn't have a career plan, didn't really have a plan, just enjoyed what I was doing. And I had a manager tap me on the shoulder and ask me to run a very different business. And I think that'll happen with companies. A lot of times they'll have a need, and they'll look at somebody who's successful and just try to make the two match. And if I gave you an analogy, think of if you were a surgeon and the only thing you ever did was knee surgery, knee replacement, and they needed somebody in the heart transplant area. Well, they're both surgeons, let's just move them over. It may not work so well without some real good training. And that was what I learned here, is I didn't have a plan. The skills were not necessarily transferable. And a bit of time, maybe a year or so in, I had recognized for me to be successful and for the business to get where we needed to go, I needed to have a lot more time devoted to the strategic direction of the business and positioning the business the right way. And all I was doing was firefighting. And in trading, everything's real fast-paced, give me the information, make the decision. And I was doing the same thing, but in a far different business, far more complex. I had the opportunity, I talked to my head of HR, said I need some help with this. We did a real deep 360 review and feedback, got all this information, and it was alarming to me how much pain and suffering I was causing my team unintentionally. And then the power of getting that information and adjusting. And it made just a tremendous difference. And the real message I would have, and what I wish other leaders would have told me, is when you step from one role to the other, be really aware that you may need a different playbook. Of course, you're going to have strengths that you will lean on, but assess the situation, understand the situation, be very curious, and draw up the playbook for that situation versus just trying to take one and move it over to the other. So I learned the hard way, and as you get promoted into new roles, hope you take that advice. The second, which is a little bit later in the career, and this really gets around the key message is have a plan and own your plan and your journey. I was, and a little bit learning from that earlier experience, I was running 2 of the 3 divisions at Conagra, and knew I had a decision that I needed to come to grips with. What do I want to be CEO of the company? And I didn't have the answer. And it was very intentional work on my part with some help to go figure that out. I went and met with 6 different CEOs from big public company, big private, nonprofit, startup, a couple in between. Got a whole bunch of information, a whole bunch of context where I was able to really, truly understand, do I want to be a good number 2 guy like I had been, or do I want to lead a whole company? And was able to draw the conclusion that, leading a company is what I really aspired to do. And all of that context helped me have that conviction. And I think that could apply at any level in an organization, any stepping from one position to another that any of you may be considering. Go out there, seek others' experiences to really get a handle on it. Where it really paid off for me is it did unfold. And the company did come to me and ask, hey, we need a new CEO. Are you interested? And I didn't just have a flippant answer. I had a whole bunch of context. I had a lot of knowledge of why I knew that is what I wanted to do, and I had all this information. And then the way it played out, the board went external instead of internal. And what was so helpful for me to have confidence in my plan and conviction in what I wanted to do, I knew it was really clear I wasn't going to run that company. And I was able to really quickly make a decision and say, hey, look, I'm going to go figure out what company I will run, because I've already made the commitment to be a CEO. It won't be here, which was fine. And I had, after 27 years, it was just amazing, no emotion. It was just like, hey, this is my path, and I'm going to move forward. So, for each of you, I would just encourage you to really self-reflect, know enough about yourself, what makes you tick, what really energizes you, brings out the best in you, and then apply that. And hopefully it's within your own organization, and there's times where you really have to seek the alternative elsewhere, as I did there a couple years ago. And that wraps up my deal, and I'm right on 7 minutes. So thank you very much.